Iowa Western Student Center, a bowl version of the Coach Stroh Show, the final Stroh Show of 2015. We are here with all of the Iowa Western students enjoying lunch and enjoying preparation for the big Graphic Edge Bowl coming up on Sunday in Cedar Falls. I'm Jake Ryan along with the head coach, Scott Strohmeyer. Coach, seems like forever since we talked last, but it's only been a couple of weeks. How was the holiday, first of all?
It's been good in the bowl with some bowl prep and gave the guys a little bit of time off. I don't know if I think they needed a little bit of time away from us too.
You had the whole team over for Thanksgiving dinner, right?
No, I didn't.
All right. Well, I know that a nine-game win streak, and you guys have kind of pushed the start of the season out the door. You guys are on a hot streak right now. Number 5 in the latest NJCAA poll. You've got number 17 Georgia Military coming up on Sunday at 3 o'clock from Cedar Falls. The Unidome, pretty good place to play. Feeling good about it?
Well, I am, because I see all the white stuff outside, and I know there's going to be none of that in the UNI Dome, but we're excited. I mean, it's been a long time since we played, and the guys have earned this chance for one more time.
All right, let's take a look at those highlights for the game that got us to the Cedar Falls, to the Unidome, and the Graphic Edge Bowl. It is the Iowa Central game annually, known as the Kinney Cup, and it was all on the line. ICCAC title and more. Tyus Mason taking the opening kickoff on the final day of the regular season against Iowa Central. Pretty good way to start as Tyus moves it up to the field in great field position.
Yeah, for sure. It's always one thing to get good field position to start it off. The game was good.
And then, of course, it is, Iowa Central to work, if you can call it that. Not much going offensively for the Triton.
Our defense came in, they've been playing well all year, but, really they wanted to set the tone in this game, did a nice job.
And speaking of setting the tone, you start right away. Zach Martin just slinging it all over the field, gets one to Turner Gaines there. And then, well, how about the running game for Mr. Zach Martin? Doubles his season output in one run.
I don't know what he's thinking there, but he's seen green grass, he can take off running. Looks like he hasn't ran in a while there.
Well, he got a good run there, and then you guys set up the touchdown right here into the end zone. How about Malcolm Moore? What a job he's done this season.
He has. He's really having a good year. Down in the red zone, he's a good target, catches the ball extremely well, goes up and gets it, and you just got to try to put your playmakers in space.
How about putting your playmakers right into the Iowa Central backfield, constantly delivering in the backfield. Merrick Jackson, big number 99, getting it done again.
Tell you what, they've been doing it all year and did a heck of a job here. Like I said, interior guy.
And then Zach Martin, the running QB that you always knew he could be. Another big run down the center of the field.
He's finally getting a little bit, feels like he's getting a little bit healthy. He can take off and show his athleticism there, but it's good to see.
Yeah, speaking of getting healthy, on the couple plays later, he turns his knee, and we'll get some more from you there. You have to settle for an attempt from the leg of Bobby Patterson. He knocks it through. It's 10-0 Reivers. And then let's get the special teams into it. Another block on the day for Dominic Wilson.
Tell you what, I mean, in any game, the special teams is such a huge deal, and Dom takes great pride in it and has done a good job.
What is it that he sees that allows him to get into the backfield so easily?
Well, sometimes it's instincts. Some guys have a knack for it, and he does, and Coach Cashmore puts him in a good position to come up with a block each time.
Dark side knocking down the Iowa Central runners again, and then let's work it to Anthony Johnson this time. A big long pass from Brock Larson that ignited the spark that you had lost after that Zach Martin injury.
For sure, and Brock needed that. I think the team needed that, some big play, and that's what has to happen in the game. Sometimes like this is you need someone to step up, and they did.
Corey Bertini out of Glenwood, I believe, so a local kid just really on the wrong side of the football on the day, wearing the wrong colors, that's for sure.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be wearing those colors with the defense the way we're playing. They're getting after the quarterback a lot this year.
Dom Wilson, another block, and then, how about you just keep pushing them down the field. John Nazambo going to work on this drive, takes the handoff and busts into the end zone for another Reaver touchdown.
Well, it was good to see. You get a little bit of crease, and he lowers the shoulder and comes away with the touchdown.
And then another shot across the field. Anthony Johnson, his best day as a Reaver, 4 catches for over 100 yards and a touchdown. Number 81 really came to play for the Kinney Cup, didn't he?
Well, yeah, and it was good to see. I mean, he's got obviously a lot of ability and his speed, and they were putting us in position that he could, he runs a post route and put him in position to make a play.
Great diving catch there by Anthony Johnson. Then back to the air for Brock Larson, slings it to the side, and then what a couple feet in just to make sure Malcolm drug them both in, not just one.
I mean, he makes those through camp and spring ball, and I mean, he's making some unbelievable catches. It was nice concentration there.
And then the Reivers trying to preserve what they hoped was a shutout, and again, Bertini going nowhere, just constantly on his back. The Reivers defensive line playing one of their best games of the season.
They did, and then he gets a little bit of time, and then he throws an interception. So, and part of that is when you put pressure on the quarterback and you get him on the ground, he's going to force some throws.
Dick's getting some sniffs from the four-year colleges. How many offers does he have now, do you know?
Gosh, probably 6, something like that, I think, is where that number has gone up to.
Speaking of numbers, 94, 93, a couple guys that you don't see normally getting the quarterback sack, sharing it there. And then for the final catch of the day, Anthony will just go down the sideline. Does end up getting tripped up toward the end, but again, inside the red zone, Anthony Johnson, a heck of a day.
He did, like I said, and that's kind of been the story of the season, who's going to step up or which game who is it going to be. So it's always good.
And this is not a replay. That's another quarterback sack of the day. And the final score, 31-3. You win the ICCAC regular season conference crown, and you get the Graphic Edge premier game on Sunday at 3 o'clock, as we previously discussed. More importantly, though, the Kinney Cup stays right here in Council Bluffs.
Yeah, it is. A rivalry game. Obviously, we know the reason, and we want to keep the Kinney Cup here. And they haven't seen it since the first game of our season or program history.
Right.
So it's nice to keep that here. And I think 5 straight Region 11 championships, and actually 6 now, I think is what it was over the 7 years Region 11. And so proud of our guys the way we finished it off.
More importantly, in-state recruiting. Pretty
for sure. Anytime you can show, we had like close to 50 some recruits at that game, so to have them see 31-3 and kind of really dominated it, that helps for sure in recruiting.
Absolutely. 9-2, 9 straight wins. How you feeling heading into the postseason?
Well, anytime you're on a 9-game winning streak, you got to feel a little, pretty good. And the way our guys have been playing towards the end of the season, I've been impressed with. So we're going into a bowl game. Anytime you have a month off, as coaches, we spend a lot of time in the film room and create some crazy things. So you never know what to expect coming into a bowl game.
All right, we'll talk all about the preparation and more on this special live edition of the Coach Stroh Show from the IWCC Student Center. We will talk with head coach Jim Morris when we come back, and we'll be joined by a special guest that maybe brought him to campus. Head coach Jim Morris celebrating his final season, and they've got a long road to hoe. We'll discuss his top 5 moments and more when we come back. You're watching the Coach Stroh Show live from the IWCC Student Center here on CBTV 17.
Okay, it's decision time. I want flexibility, more doing, hands-on experience, and working sooner. I gotta make a choice. I want to get started, now. Find your path at iwcc.edu and get hands-on, real-world experience. Start now at Iowa Western.
In today's world, getting things done means being connected. The challenge, though, is staying connected, no matter where you are. In Council Bluffs, we had a nutty idea. What if we tried to connect everyone in our community for free? How great would it be if we could always communicate, stay creative, and enjoy the things that make us unique together? Just think of all the opportunities to learn new things, find new friends, and do it all in the blink of an eye. Introducing Blink, Bluffs Community Wi-Fi. It's free, and it's coming to your neighborhood soon. Learn more at blinkwifi.org.
We are back live from the Iowa Western Student Center, as we are joined now by head coach Jim Morris from the Reivers men's basketball team and president Dr. Dan Kinney. Well, guys, as you make that announcement a year in advance, coach, and it's just going to keep coming as we look back at you. A big announcement, obviously, after 21 years at the helm. At the end of this season, you will call it a career at Iowa Western. Bittersweet, I'm sure, but we are ready to celebrate everything that you've been able to accomplish over the past 21 years. Let's talk about your day getting hired at Iowa Western. How did it work out now that we've got the big boss here? obviously you guys interviewed together. How did it go? Were you nervous at all, or did you have a pretty good game plan coming in? You were confident.
Well, at the time I was the coach out at Colby Community College out in Kansas, and I got a call from Dana Altman, and he said, Iowa Western job, Dr. Kinney, I've talked with him, and he's going to open up a basketball program there. And I remember him from his days at Coffeyville. I think he's a great president, and he's just very supportive of athletics. I think it'd be a great job. So I got interested real quickly when he said that. And actually, on interview day, my wife and I got in our green minivan and got on the interstate, and it was ice. And we did a 360 in the middle of Interstate 70.
Wow.
Went down in the ditch. They had to pull us out. Got back in the car, and drove up and did the interview. So Mike Welbecker always used to say, you're the one guy that would drive through a blizzard for this job interview, so we hired you. So worked out great, came in. I remember walking into the old gym, and first thing I saw was the old gym, and I looked at Mike Welbecker, and I said, I don't know if I can recruit to this gym. I mean, I don't know who wants to come in here and play. And so we went into the interview, and Dr. Kinney said, that's a difficult place to recruit to, your gym. He says, how about we get you a new floor this year and we get you a new place to play within 3 years? And I said, okay, that sounds good. And he did it. He got it done. So ever since then, everything's been growing. Everything's been going great.
Man, Dr. K, you must have wanted Coach Morris pretty badly if you're promising new buildings and new floors.
Sure. Well, I didn't realize that he'd gone through all that trial and tribulation to get to the interview. I wondered why he was so nervous, but now I know. But no, really, when we decided to restart the men's basketball program, I called Dana Altman because I knew Dana, and I said, Dana, I want you to be on the committee. And I said, I don't know who else will be on the committee, but I want you to select the coach. I want you to find us a great basketball coach, and he did.
Well, were you on time, Coach, after doing the 360?
We came up, I think, the night before, maybe even got there,
okay.
but we got there on time. Yeah, there wasn't any problem. I think they actually shut school down, so they came in and we did the interview. I don't think school was even in session back then because of the weather.
So your first team, if I'm not mistaken, was a Division II squad, correct? And then
Yes. Yeah.
what led from Division II to moving to Division I, Dr. K?
Well, that was always our plan, is to be Division I. And I think there were only 2 Division I schools in Iowa at that time. And then starting the program, we thought it'd be better to start at Division II and then build it from there. So that's what we did.
Who are some of the players that were on that first squad that you are still in touch with, Coach? Anybody?
A lot of those kids, I have to think back that Joey James was the head coach at the University of South Dakota, and he was there. He was on that first team, kid out of Omaha that we got. We actually, there was no program, so we didn't really have a team, so we just had to kind of go out and pick kids up late, and we weren't very good that first year. We just weren't.
Yeah, what was recruiting like when you first started?
Well, nobody really knew much about Iowa Western,
Sure.
didn't know anything about it at all, and of course, the basketball program. As a matter of fact, I remember when I got the job, I said, "Do you have a schedule built up? Because this is already March. I mean, I don't know how you're going to get a schedule." And they said, "Oh, no problem. Everybody wanted to play us. We got all kinds of games, so it wasn't any difficult getting a schedule." But no, that was a good group of kids, and I remember that first time we opened up with Northern Iowa, Nyack, opened up on our floor, and they were the defending national title champions, and we came in. I think we beat them by 20-some on the first floor on that hard surface, and off to a good start there. We had some big games. That's some very good games in that old gym. Indian Hills came in there. I think they'd won 89 in a row at that time. It broke the record, and they got a shot over the top of Clifford Bates at the buzzer to send it in overtime, and then we ended up getting beat. But we had some great games in there.
I tell you what, when I went to school here, I remember Indian Hills. They would pull up their Learjet into the parking lot, and the NBA team would get. I mean, that's what it looked like
Yeah, they were really good
when they
back
used
there.
to come in.
Yeah.
Is that one of the best memories of that first year? Is topping Nyack on opening night?
Well, I mean, that first one, you're just nervous in there, first time, first game, and to come in there and beat them as soundly as we beat them, it was great. We had a few losses during that season I wasn't very proud of, but I know I went in and talked to Dr. Kinney after that first one, and I said, after that first year, I said, we'll get better. And he kind of looked at me, and I got the impression from him that you better get better. He didn't say it, but just looking at him, I knew he'd like to win, and just by that, I thought, yeah, we'll get better, and we did. But that first year was obviously a struggle.
Well, Coach Morris, I want your favorite moments by the end of this season. All right, so be thinking about them, because I want to pluck the brain of the highlights of your career here at Iowa Western, what you bring out of it. Dr. K, what's one of the highlights from Reivers basketball over the course of the last 21 years for you?
Well, there have been great ones, of course, the trips to the national tournament. But, Jim mentioned that Indian Hills game in that first year, and I'll never forget because, you know, Hills, like you say, they were the premier program in the country at that point in time. And when we nearly beat them, I thought it was one of the best games that you ever coached.
Yeah, it was a great game.
Yeah,
Great
it
game.
was. It was a fun game.
Could have won that one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Coach Morris, thanks again for stopping by. We hope that you make the trip on Sunday. We know that you'll be in Esterville on Saturday. We'll be there with you. But hopefully we'll see you at the bowl game on Sunday for the Reivers finale for 2015.
Absolutely, and best of luck to the Reaver football team. Hope they go up there and clean house and keep that thing rolling.
All right, we'll talk with you much more. Dr. K, I need you back for our next segment with Dr. Strohmeyer.
Dr. Strohmeyer?
With Coach Strohmeyer.
Okay, great.
He's not a doctor yet. We will check out. Be right back. Dylan Lindbergh will join Jake Waters joining us to stop. They'll talk about Reaver football and more as we check out from the Student Center briefly. We'll be back in just a moment. This is the Iowa Western Football Coaches Show, live from the Iowa Western Student Center on CBTV 17.
Schedule your campus visit today. Iowa Western. The world is waiting.
Welcome back to the Coach Stroh Show Game Dial. I'm IWTV student Dylan Lindbergh. Along with me is former Kansas State quarterback and Reaver Jake Waters. Jake, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So you had an incredible journey getting signed by Jacksonville, going to Seattle. How's that been for you?
Well, it was a great experience. Obviously, you know, ever since you were a little kid, or when I was a little kid, I wanted to get a chance in the NFL, and you know, I had to come to Iowa Western, then Kansas State. Then I finally got that opportunity to be there for a little bit, and it was great.
How's your journey been coming back, working with Coach Stroh? What's that been like working with him again?
Oh, it's been awesome. I knew when you know, it didn't work out in Seattle that I wanted to come coach, and what better spot than Iowa Western? And you know, I'm just glad and thankful that Coach Stroh, you know, gave me the opportunity to come kind of tag along and learn from him the best I can.
Your time here at Iowa Western, obviously a huge success. You won a national championship. What have you been teaching Zach and Brock? What have you been telling those guys like this season?
Oh, well, Coach Stroh does a great job with the quarterbacks, and you know, I'm just there to help if they need a question or you know, a tip here or there, because I've been through what they're going through, and you know, I've learned a lot on my journey and career. So you know, anything that they need, but Coach Stroh does a great job with them.
Working with Coach Stroh back in your playing days, what's it like coming back, working with him, and knowing you can help the Iowa Western team this year out after a rough start, obviously going 0-2, coming back winning 9 straight, a lot of injuries to say the least on the team. What's it been like to just coach them up and get them in the gear this year?
Oh, it's been awesome. You know, I've always been on the player side of it, and I always kind of wanted to experience what it's like to be on that other side, the coaching side, and you know, what better place and what better, you know, coach to do that with than Coach Stroh. You know, so every day I come in, it's a great day. I'm trying to learn as much as I can and absorb everything. But you know, it's been a great season, ups and downs. Obviously, start off 0-2 and you know, down to our third string quarterback. But you know, that's what makes a great coach when you can win 9 straight.
How different is it being on the coaching side rather than being the player now here at Iowa Western?
Oh, it's way different. You know, those little things that the coaches always talk about and the players sometimes, you know, kind of brush off and not think they're that important when you're on the other side. They're huge. You know, the attention to detail on a certain play, or you know, the film study that goes into it. You know, as a player, sometimes you might brush it off or not think it's that as important, but as a coach, it's a pretty big deal.
How do you think the season has gone so far? Obviously, like I said, rough start, but how do you think the team's coming along in their bowl preparation and practicing? How do you think they're doing preparing for the bowl game?
Well, I think it's great. You know, any team, when you start off 0-2, it's tough. You can either go in the tank, or you can battle through it and fight back. And that's exactly what the players did. And you got to give a lot of credit to them, but also Coach Stroh and the staff to get them in the position to make the plays. But it's ultimately down to the players to have the fight to win 9 straight when they could have easily went in the tank.
So bowl game obviously upcoming Sunday against Georgia Military. What's your prediction upcoming for the game? How do you think Brock and the team has been preparing for this upcoming bowl game?
They're preparing well. We have a lot of time, so some of the practices you're going against your guys for a couple 2-3 weeks now. They want to play the game and play someone new, but they're doing well. It's been kind of finding the elements with the snow yesterday, and it's a little cold, but they're doing all they can. They'll be ready to play.
All right, give us your prediction. Do you got Georgia Military, or do you got Iowa Western this Sunday?
Well, obviously, I think we got to win. We should win, but it's going to be a great game. It's it's going to be a culture shock kind of for both teams playing the Dome. It's going to be hot, but it just comes down to who goes out there and executes the best and prepared the best.
All right, thanks for joining us here today, Jake. When we come back, Jake Ryan will be with Coach Stroh, and a special guest, Dr. Kinney, comes back to make his pick on the upcoming game. We'll be right back.
Your future is here at CBTV. You're in the game. You take the shots. It's your story. The Media Studies program at Iowa Western. Real reality TV starring you. For more information, go to iwcc.edu.
Final segment of the final Stroh Show of 2015 comes to you live from the IWCC Student Center. Jake Ryan back with the head coach Scott Strohmeyer and President Dr. Dan Kinney. Well, Georgia Military lies in wait on Sunday, 3 o'clock kickoff in the Unidome, a good place to play. We always know it's 72 degrees there. We don't have any weather to worry about. Tell us a little bit about what your bowl preparations have been. Obviously, November 7th was the last game that you played, and you didn't find an opponent out for sure until about a week and a half later. So tell us what it's been like for the Reivers football team leading up to Sunday.
Well, we gave them that first week off right after the season, just to kind of get back on their feet academically, and then we came back not really knowing our opponent. Got some of our younger guys some reps that maybe don't get as many through the season, some redshirt guys, and I mean you utilize that. I think we got 12 practices. In a spring ball, you get 20. So, I mean, it's basically an extra season that you get, and we want to utilize that to get to work.
Dr. K, what are your responsibilities leading up to the bowl game? Obviously, you were in on some of the negotiations, trying to get a team to come in. What are your responsibilities leading up to the ball game?
Well, I think the big thing is that we wanted to get the highest ranked team that we could get, and because of the individuals that were involved in the national polls this year, that became a very exciting proposition. Having 3 teams that weren't even eligible that were in the top 10, I think. But anyway, so it's that, and it's really, working with the commissioner, who is the general manager of the bowl. The bowl is actually owned by the league, and so then the 3 presidents have a lot of input into what we do. And our goal every year is to get the highest ranked teams that we can get in to play in the bowl game.
Now, as I know that you don't have much say in it, but you know a little bit of the behind the background dealings. There was a bid that went out for the national championship game. Has the ICCAC extended a bid to host that national championship game in the future, or are you unaware of that?
Yeah, no, we have not extended a bid, and we're not going to.
Okay.
I think that the NJCAA is getting greedy, trying to make money for the NJCAA, and quite honestly, I think the bowl that wins that bid is taking a huge financial risk, because if we didn't have Iowa Western and Ellsworth in the Graphic Edge Bowl, you don't have any fans that travel. I'll bet Georgia Military and the team out of New York together will bring maybe 50 to 100 fans at all.
Yeah.
And so financially, whichever bowl wins that thing is going to take a bath. And probably it'll be the end of that bowl, because they'll end up bankrupt.
Yeah.
So,
just kind of a game where you don't. The teams have got followings, but not necessarily followings that will travel with them, and that's
right.
That's the problem right there.
yeah,
So,
that's the problem.
so is that the reason that they have 2 games then for the Graphic Edge Bowl? Obviously, Ellsworth brings an Iowa fan base. Iowa Western will bring an Iowa fan base.
Well, and that got started before we even had football here
Sure.
at Iowa Western. And I guess the thinking was that they had to pay the rent for the facility. There were a lot of one-time costs that they were going to have anyway, so they could have 2 games. And really, the only additional cost is another set of officials because everything else is already in place. And so, and then that gave more teams from the Midwest Football Conference an opportunity to have a bowl bid.
Absolutely.
And so 2 teams out of the MFC every year got to go to a bowl.
All right, makes sense. Coach, Georgia Military, what can you tell us about them?
Well, I mean, they're a good football team, but, you know, I think they're 8-3 or something like that. But I've gotten to know their head coach, Bert Williams. You know, we're both on I'm the president of the Junior College Coach Association. He's been on it, and so we communicate a lot, got to know each other over the years. So I know they're well coached. It's going to be, they're physical. That's probably the biggest thing that our guys maybe don't understand is the speed and physicality that they bring. Because when we played them before, we played them in 12 and 13, you know, and really physical teams, well coached. But, you know, our guys are excited for it. You know, they haven't played a game since Halloween, because their last game, there was a forfeit, so they didn't get to play that game. So they've had some rest, and they had to get their guys back. But, you know, I'm excited for it. They've never came up here to this bowl game. Like Dr. K said, is we want to try to get the best opponent we could. And you know, when we were calling around and trying to get people interested, I was excited when they were interested in coming here.
Sure. Well, Georgia Military, a win in 2012. That was by far the closest game of the regular season that the Reivers played on their way to a national championship. And then in 2013, some miscues early kind of put you in a hole, and Connor Brevard and crew tried to come back. They almost came back, but
and they played for the national championship that year.
Absolutely, and we know who they played against. So, all right, Dr. K, Bulldogs and Reivers, they've split 2 all-time meetings. What do you think in the rubber match of the series so far? Who are you going with?
Well, let me show you. Who else but the Reivers, huh? Could you go with anybody but the Reivers?
I like that, talking through the throat. That's
that's right, that works.
Kids, Rocky really doesn't talk, but Dr. K does. He picks the Reivers. We pick the Reivers. We'll bring you the game at 1:30 is our pregame show on 89.7 The River. We'll have the live stream on NJCAA TV. And, of course, we will talk with you at 3 o'clock for the kickoff between the Bulldogs and the Reivers. Until then, wear blue, be loud. Go Reivers. Good luck, Coach, on Sunday.
Thank you.
This has been the Iowa Western Football Coaches Show on CBTV 17. Thanks for tuning in.